The next part of the question was, should I phone all the parents myself and let them know that I will have a new teacher for them?
This is such a great question, because this is one of those moments where, as a school owner, you have to actually take ownership. So the question is, should I phone all the parents? So in this case, I said, wait, you only have 1 week's notice. Ooh, yeah, that's too, unless you can get that teacher to extend their transition time, then absolutely you're going to need to jump on the phone with the parents and you're going to need to own the situation. And so what do we mean by own the situation? You're going to need to say, I have some hard news. Neither you nor I were planning on this, and this is an area where I am trying to improve at our school. So notice right away you took it off this teacher leaving and you put it on your own shoulders. You said, hey, this is an area I'm trying to improve, which is to have retain teachers for longer periods of time so that they can better serve our students, your kids. So it's an area we're working on, but I have some hard news. So-and-so is going to be leaving in 2 weeks' time or in 1 week's time. And so I'm calling you to let you know that I'm personally handling the transition of your family to a new teacher. If I need to step in and cover your lessons until we find the best possible next teacher, I'll do that. But you need to know that I'm personally going to work with you on this transition to ensure that you have a seamless experience moving from this old teacher to your new long-term teacher. I wanted to let you know that, and I want to listen. How can I be of most help right away? So you ask that question. So what's going to happen on that phone call? What's going to happen is that the family is going to complain, and they have every right to. So your job is to listen, and your job is to be, just empathetic to it. I hear you. It's really difficult. I know this is not the way we normally do it, and I'm really hoping that that I can help make it as smooth as possible. Is there anything else I can do for you in the short term? Then what's going to happen is the family is going to, once they've vented their frustration, which they need to be able to do, they're going to say, I appreciate you calling. That's heavy right there. I appreciate you calling, because the other option was avoid or Nate, not calling. And then it's just an email, right? Or avoiding it altogether, and they're surprised when there's a new teacher that shows up in 2 weeks, right? So they say, I appreciate you calling. 9 times out of 10, those families are going to now give you the room you need to try to transition and find that new teacher for them. There's going to be 10% of your families that are going to say, that's it, I've had enough. And you have to know that and be okay with that as the owner. It is unrealistic for you to assume you're going to retain 100% of the families when a teacher gives 1 week's notice. It's unrealistic for you to assume you're going to retain 100% of the families when any teacher transitions. So let me just tell you, in our 13 years of doing it at BMF, we've never retained 100% of the families.
When you've transitioned them over to a new family?
When we transition them over to a new teacher, yes. Sorry,
that's what I meant.
So we're just setting our expectations. This is that discipline I'm talking about. So when this studio owner reached out and asked us, and I said, look, you're going to lose some. You got to be okay with that. But you have to look at the roster and say, if this teacher had 10 students, and I already know out of the gate I'm going to lose 2 or 1 of them, then you've set a realistic goal. Can I retain 8 families out of 10 if I do this process effectively? And now you're setting a realistic goal. You're not feeling like you're losing no matter what. You're not feeling guilt and shame around it. You're just saying, I'm going to follow this process. I'm going to call these families. Then I'm going to work on a transition with this teacher, have them fill out that transition doc. I'm going to follow up with an email to every family about the transition plan. Here's who's going to cover while we're finding and hiring the best next teacher, right? And you're staying in constant communication with the family, and you've set a real goal. Can I retain 8 or 9 out of 10 of these families? Can I retain 80% of these families?